Hey everyone, welcome to The Uplift. We've got a great show for you, a great cast of characters as well, and as always. And we are going to begin with a pediatric surgeon who goes the extra mile for young patients even before they enter the operating room. Look at this guy. Also, a resilient ballerina, many of them in fact in Ukraine, who are still dancing despite the war. And a basketball player who is a star on the court but also a role model when he's not on the court. And a bus driver who became a hero for a child with autism. What he did to save this little boy's life. We'll get into it. Plus, meet a man known as an honorary citizen of Disneyland. What he did to earn the title. We'll explain. Find out coming up. You're watching The Uplift. Hey there, I'm Tony Dokoupil. This is The Uplift, the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes, you and me as well. And we're going to begin with that story about a pediatric surgeon who goes above and beyond for his young patients. Here's Natasha Larno with the story.
Heading into surgery without their parents can be scary for kids. But pediatric surgeon Dr. Hisham found a way to ease the anxiety of his young patients.
My whole life has been dealing with children, especially the ones who are in pain, in agony, in a situation that is stressful in a way. I was searching all the time for a way that can lessen down their anxiousness, to break the ice between us, to have a pleasant time before we are put to sleep and going to surgery.
Dr. Hisham says making the children smile and entertaining them before going into surgery has had tremendous benefits that he hopes have lasting impacts.
The mental and psychological status of a person can totally alter or change your perception of pain because it releases endorphins from within your body, so you can respond differently to noxious stimuli or painful conditions. I got a lot of feedbacks from the families saying that because of this, our child has had a good experience with his surgery. We were even not afraid that they are leaving us at the red line and going with you to the OR.
They may be leaving their parents at the door of the OR, but they're in good hands with Dr. Hisham.
They are in good hands indeed. And we're going to go now to the heartwarming story, a video that shows mom LaDonna Lively celebrating birthday number 60 and receiving not one, not two, but 3 huge gifts from her 3 sons.
Oh my God! My son just surprised me! He's here!
Did you guys make a reservation, or do we need to?
Oh my God!
Oh my God, I didn't have a out.
What movie are you guys watching? Happy birthday.
I love how she's still surprised when the 3rd son shows up. Like, no one's counting on him. The other 2, the good boys. That's so sweet. So let me see if I can get this straight. Her sons flew in to Nashville, one from California, one from Texas, and one from Chicago, Illinois, to surprise her one by one, completely unannounced. They had she had no idea it was coming. You can see the look on her face. She was definitely in total shock. Each and every time, every son. I guess low expectations. It's a good result anyway. Our next video shows 11-year-old Elijah, who received a gift from Make-A-Wish, a gift he had been dreaming of.
You remember him? He's so cute! That's Tucker! Oh, Tucker! He's so cuddly, isn't he? Oh, I love you! I love you!
Thank you guys for making a wish come true.
Of course!
Wow. That is really, really sweet. Elijah had said he wanted a corgi, and he wanted a corgi named Tucker, in fact. And what you're looking at is him receiving a corgi named Tucker. That's exactly what he got. All right. Coming up, a teen hockey player organized a grand gesture on the ice for a fellow classmate, and that grand gesture went viral. What was the big surprise? We'll tell you. Plus, meet the kids who are working on an out-of-this-world, you might say, project for a major American corporation or organization. You've probably heard of it. We'll explain. A group of high school students in Texas are working on a giant project together, but it's not a project for school. In fact, it's a project that is, you might say, out of this world. Here's Olivia Leach from our CBS Dallas station with more.
It's Monday morning at Ben Barber Innovation Academy. These high school students are hard at work using highly technical machines to fabricate parts in this manufacturing class. But this isn't your ordinary school project. They're working on parts that will be used by NASA.
We're building a component to a storage locker box. And the storage locker box is a part that they use to send supplies or experiments up to the astronauts at the space station.
That's right, a mission destined for the stars.
That would be really cool, just knowing that we're making a difference, even if it's something as small as a lid for a locker.
These students are part of the NASA Hunch program, in place in 277 schools nationwide, 20 of which are here in North Texas.
And we tell them that, you guys aren't just a bunch of high school students that are working on a project. You're working for NASA, you're on the NASA team.
As NASA's newest team members, these students traveled to the Johnson Space Center in Houston to hand deliver the parts they've built.
It changes your perspective from that of a little enclosed, oh, this is just a grade, what if I fail, to, wow, this is going out to the space station and it's going to help astronauts store their materials and their experiments. This is a little bigger than an A+ in a class.
Students are trained and mentored by NASA employees, and the parts they make are inspected and held to NASA's rigorous standards.
These are not widgets and these are not paperweights. These are actual structural components that are flying to the space station.
Students are told when a part they've worked on is included in a NASA launch, and they even get a photo of it in use in space. For students like Abigail Gibson, the NASA Hunch program has helped them discover new career paths they never would have considered.
I feel really ready for what's going to come after high school, so that's pretty nice. And I'm getting firsthand experience of what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Fly, rocket, fly. All right, to our next story. A high school hockey player in Minnesota recently decided to shoot his shot before a game. Here's Marielle Mose with his story.
Number 7, Alexander Schlosser.
The lineup announcement ahead of Boys State hockey games is usually an opportunity for players to wave to their friends and family.
Senior forward, number 8, Brady Bork.
But this message wasn't for mom and dad. The blade on his stick reads, "Hey Sarah, prom?"
I didn't know what to think. I was super shocked.
Sarah Stegegna FaceTimed us from Laverne, back home after the team fell to Hermantown on Wednesday. The team may have lost, but she still feels like she picked up a win.
It made me happy that he was so bold with it and just went for it.
I didn't really want to say it because obviously she's at the game, so she can't hear it over the Jumbotron, so it kind of had to be spelled out or else she wouldn't have known what I said.
She, of course, said yes. But being asked to prom wasn't the only surprise.
When I got back, everybody in the locker room was saying, "Oh, you're going viral already."
The fast fame wasn't Brady's focus. He just wanted to soak in these last moments as a senior, playing hockey and making his family proud.
You guys made me cry.
The Laverne boys ended their run in the consolation bracket on Thursday, but Brady did get a goal, a prom date, and a lot of hype online.
Maybe I'll go look on Twitter and make myself feel a little bit better.
Ha! That's lovely. All right, from sports to sports, coming up, no matter how the NCAA tournament turns out, this college basketball player is already a winner because of what he does off the court. Plus, in Ukraine, these ballerinas continue to dance in spite of the war, and they are sending a powerful message just by taking the stage.
I mean, I think a lot of people back home, when I came, they asked me if Kiev was destroyed, and I said, absolutely not. You know, it's not destroyed, and to continue on is really the Ukrainian spirit. It's really incredible to see that. And people continuing to just not exist, but live.
We're going to introduce you now to a college basketball star making a name for himself off the court as a role model. Here's Nancy Chen with the story.
Cliff Amore is known for his powerhouse dunks. But the Rutgers University junior only started playing basketball at 14, just before his family in Nigeria sent him to New Jersey.
It was just like to get a better education.
Amore moved in with Muhammad Oliver, a volunteer with the basketball program at the Salvation Army Center in Newark.
The first time you took him out to play basketball, what did you think?
Am I being honest there?
Oh, yeah.
He had a lot of work. We had to basically start from scratch.
Oliver was not only Amore's legal guardian, but also a motivator.
I almost gave up on basketball. Like, he gave me the belief that I could be what I want to be if I just keep working.
That work ethic applied off the court, too.
Because of Cliff, my son improved academically tremendously. He saw Cliff, how he handled basketball and books.
He was a role model.
100%. A great role model, actually.
As one of the best players in the Big Ten Conference, Amore earned $25,000 from endorsements, money he donated to revitalize the court where it all began, honoring his mentor.
He's changed your life.
Yeah. I think he's changed our life as well, too, though.
A powerful athlete on college basketball's biggest stage.
All right, we're going to introduce you now to ballerinas in Ukraine, ballerinas who are still dancing despite the war, and they're doing so to remind people of their country's culture and its strength.
They are the front line in Ukraine's fight to preserve its cultural heritage. Armed with pirouettes, pliés, and jetés, in a battle of survival for an art form they've dedicated their lives to. Like Olga Kifyak von Kramer, the prima ballerina at the Ukraine National Ballet, one of the country's most celebrated performers.
Ukraine is still at war. You're still dancing. Why is it so important to still dance?
We want the world to see that Ukraine also has its own incredible culture, she says. That's why we continue to dance. We dance in spite of Russia. Ballet has long been one of Moscow's most revered cultural exports, but several of its most acclaimed dancers were either from or trained in Ukraine. When Vladimir Putin launched his invasion 1 year ago, the curtain went down on stages across the country, leading some Ukrainian performers to pick up arms and join the fight, including Alexander Shapoval. He was the principal dancer at the Ukraine National Ballet, a once-in-a-generation talent who over the course of 28 seasons performed in 30 different roles. But he will never dance again. In September, the 48-year-old father of two was killed in a Russian mortar attack. His funeral was televised on Ukrainian state TV, where he was remembered as a courageous romantic. For Mikita Sukharukov, Shapoval was a mentor and friend. He's now taken over his role as the company's principal dancer, a role Sukharukov feels the weight of.
How did you feel when you learned Alexander died?
It was very difficult I think for all company. It was very difficult.
It really brought the war here, back to this company.
Yep.
But here at the National Opera Theater in Kyiv, for a brief moment in time, audiences are transfixed by dazzling performances on stage. Tonight, it's the classic Don Quixote, a romantic comedy for the ages, with Sukharukov starring in the lead role. A performance attended by American Paige Vienne. Originally from Seattle, she now works as a volunteer in Kyiv.
So supporting the arts for you is really an act of defiance to Russia's aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people back home, when I came, they asked me if Kiev was destroyed, and I said, absolutely not. You know, it's not destroyed, and to continue on is really the Ukrainian spirit. It's really incredible to see that. And people continuing to just not exist, but live.
But so many lives continue to be lost, including Kifyak von Kramer's brother, who died fighting in eastern Ukraine in August. Still, she says, nothing will stop her from performing. Yes, it's hard, she says, but we are Ukrainians. We are unbreakable. An unbreakable spirit on the front lines and on stage.
The show goes on, and so does the Ukrainian spirit. It's a beautiful piece. And coming up, another one, you're going to meet a California native who loves Disneyland a lot and was recently recognized for his multi-year, nearly decade-long, in fact, commitment to the park. Plus, meet a Minnesota bus driver who noticed something wrong, and then sprang into action, something we don't always do. He ended up saving a boy with autism. We take you now to Southern California for a trip to Disneyland. Isn't that nice? We're going to introduce you to a man who's been going there for a long, long time. In fact, he's been called the honorary citizen of that particular theme park. Here's Caitlin O'Kane.
Jeff Reitz loves Disneyland a lot. To show you how much he loves the theme park, we need to go back to January 1st, 2012.
I was at Disneyland with friends, and we were joking around about a commercial that Disney ran when they announced the Leap Day 24-hour event, saying that they were going to be giving you an extra Disney day. And we had joked around that, how can it be an extra day if you didn't use the others? So we decided to go for all 366 days of 2012.
After that year, Jeff and a friend continued to go every single day in 2013.
We were both unemployed, and we had annual passes that had been given to us the previous year as gifts. So we decided to use it as a positive. It got you out of bed and outside to get some fresh air, because it can be depressing when you're out of work.
After 2 years, his friend stopped joining him, but Jeff kept going. And after 5 years, Jeff kept going. And after 8 years, Jeff kept going.
Disney has always been something that's full of magic for a lot of people, and there's always been a lot of different ways to experience it. And, me going every day was just my way that I enjoyed going to Disneyland for that period.
When he got a full-time job, Jeff had a lot to juggle, but fortunately, he lives nearby the park and would drive there each evening, practicing his photography, getting some steps in, or sometimes seeing attractions, like his favorite, Star Wars. March 14th, 2020 was the date of his 2,995th visit, and it was his last. Disneyland temporarily closed its doors due to the COVID-19 pandemic. His streak was over.
I am outside the gate. Not sure when I'll be back, but wanted to get this moment.
I was disappointed because it had been a lot of fun, and the idea of it coming to an end was a little sad. But on the other side, I was also happy in the sense of how things ended, because I was still happy and healthy, and my family was healthy. So it's not like something happened as a catastrophe where I wasn't able to go because of something that happened to me.
Jeff became a bit of a celebrity during his 8 years at the park, and he made many friends along the way. But he hasn't been back to Disneyland since it reopened in 2020. Still, those past visits were not taken in vain. He was recently contacted by Guinness World Records.
The frosting on the cake was I had never actually filed with Guinness for the record. They contacted me. They sent me a question and answer form to fill out. And at the top, it said, "Congratulations on your new record." So I was like, should I be filling this out? I never actually filed for a record.
That's how Jeff was told Guinness had recognized his 8 years, 3 months, and 13 days at the park, naming him the world record holder for most consecutive trips to Disneyland. It added a little extra magic to all those trips to the happiest place on earth.
Oh my God, I love that story. I don't think that record is ever going to fall. Congratulations to him. All right, to our next story. A bus driver working during a snowstorm in Minnesota recently became a hero to a young boy with autism. Here's CBS Minnesota's Kirsten Mitchell. She's got the story.
We're definitely eyes and ears. We're trained that way.
Just 4 months on the job as a Metro Transit bus operator,
We help as many people as we can.
Ambrose Young proved driving is more than getting from point A to B. February 22nd, a winter storm canceled school. Young was on his route near Theodore Wirth Park in Minneapolis.
I saw this child walking, and to myself, I was like, that's pretty weird.
The 9-year-old boy was wearing a backpack, walking alone in the cold, then trying to get into a car.
You just knew something was off.
Absolutely.
Young pulled over and got the child on board the warm bus. He noticed he was nonverbal and anxious, later learning he had autism.
The boy had walked about 15 blocks from his home to where driver Young found him. The high temperature that day was just 21 degrees.
The child matched the description of a boy who had wandered off.
We held hands out of the bus.
Metro Transit Patrol Officer Juan Peralta helped reunite him with his family.
This was a very caring, loving family that just wanted their kid back.
Do you feel like a hero?
No. Being a dad, I'm very happy that I was able to step in, and help this child. I would hope that someone does that for my children as well.
Whether, they're victims of a crime or they're having a medical emergency, the street is safer because of these bus drivers.
I'm just happy he was able to get safely back to his family.
Hey, that's a great piece, and that is our show. I hope it brightened your day. I hope it lifted you up. I'm confident it did. If it didn't for some reason, reruns are free. I'm going to go find some more good news.